mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lavioette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Ochinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and smelled.
Whoa. What was that?
Time to go to the show. I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Three, two, one.
Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Wednesday, January 31st. Is the last day of January. About to move on to
Black History
February.
Month.
Yeah. It's a little longer this year. Extra day.
Extra day.
Leap year day. It's a leap year. Yep, it's a leap year. This is a very weird time
Gotta get that extra day.
in the sports world. Listen,
Get close.
Gotta get one
extra
more
day,
day, baby.
It's an extra day.
Let y'all know about it.
You got Mardi Gras coming up. We got a lot of stuff happening in February. It is, like I said, January. We don't have a lot to talk about. I mean, there's not a lot of sports. You got a week off from really NFL stuff. You have the Pro Bowl, which
There
is
you
now,
go.
you have the Pro Bowl, which is now flag football, right? And which I think is better for the Pro Bowl. But that's on Sunday. You have some college basketball going on. You have some NBA, but NBA really hasn't really heated up yet. It's starting to get that way, but really hadn't gotten there yet. So, we're going to talk about what we know. And what we know right now is LSU baseball is starting to heat up and starting to ramp up their intersquads. We are 16 days away from first pitch. We are basically 2 weeks away. On Friday, it'll be 2 weeks from Friday from first pitch. You have 3 scrimmages. You have 4 scrimmages this week. Thursday at 3, Friday at 3:30, Saturday at 1, and Sunday at 1. You're going to start to see these guys really start to ramp up, really start to build up their tolerance and get their arms kind of where they need to be, because they probably only have 1 or 2 more outings. Starters specifically probably only have 2 more outings, max 3 outings before the season really starts. So they're going to start building them up to higher innings. You're going to have the position players start to get a little bit more antsy, because they're starting to see the same pitchers over and over and over again, and they're ready for the season to start. But it's right around the corner. I know they can smell it. They can sniff it. They're ready for it. We are ready for it because, like I just said, I ain't a whole hell of a lot to talk about right now, and I really need something. I need some easy content from LSU baseball. Men's basketball plays on Friday. I mean, not Friday, on Saturday. A week off in between games is kind of weird in the middle of the season. Is it not?
It's like the bye week.
Yeah, but why?
Because they grind it out for.
Grind, dog. Give them their time.
Whatever. They play on Saturday. Women's basketball team is in a little bit of a slide.
A little bit.
First slide that they've been through since Kim's been here.
An incredible mush job by you once again. Take a bow, sir.
I did mush it out.
You did.
I'm sorry. I mean, I don't believe in.
Ain't no such thing as curses.
I don't believe it. Play better. If you want to win, you got to play better. It's not because I said that they were going to get back on the winning ways. They did not. There's some things they got to iron out. They got to figure out and put themselves in a position to get back in those winning ways. But they are back on the courts, I think.
They also
Sunday?
have a week off.
Sunday, maybe? I don't know the exact schedule, but I think they're back on the court this weekend. And so hopefully they can get back in the winning side
February
of it.
4th, they look to get right at home against Florida.
That would be on Sunday.
February 4th.
I was right.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's good. SEC Division I D1 baseball came out with their preseason All-American teams. LSU's got 1 on their first team, which is Tommy White. They have 1 on the third team, which is Luke Holman. Now, we talked about this a little bit before the show. I feel like all of these rankings are overlooking Thatcher Hurd.
Severely.
Right? And, you're not getting any conversation about Thatcher, about, he needs to be an All-American, preseason All-SEC, all of these types of things. You're getting a lot about Luke Holman, which is great, because that is a guy who's going to be in the rotation. But you have a guy that's coming back who pitched at high level at the end of the year.
This is going to be a big segment for us, so let's tease it just a touch, because I feel like you got a lot to say about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not going to get there yet.
I didn't want you to jump the shark just yet.
No, I'm not going to get there yet. But you have a guy who has a lot of experience.
Edge it.
And you have a lot of guys. You have a guy who's who's shown some things, and so we're going to get into that, because I feel like there's a lot more that needs to be said about him and about some of these guys that I think people are overlooking. So we're going to kind of run into that. SEC's got 8 teams. 8 teams in the top 25. 6 of them are in the top 10 in college baseball in the preseason top 25 rankings. So that's exciting. Obviously, SEC is always going to be a gauntlet in baseball. And last but not least, it is Wednesday, which means it is Ask Mikey and Mitch Day. Throw your questions in the chat.
Get in there.
We need something. We need some
Get
help.
in there.
Help the boys out with some topics and some things that you want us to hear us talk about. And the stuff that we had if we had any on Twitter and social media, we're gonna have that, and we're gonna
shoot away. And if Lloyd can pronounce your screen name, we'll answer.
There's some that I've skipped for a good reason. Not
That's
even
why I just said
yes. Not even screen names, just questions. Even I'm like, I wouldn't ask that.
Yeah, so that's good. I appreciate you vetting as much as you can, because you're not somebody that I would expect to vet questions, because your stick is like we're funny.
Put the boys on the spot.
Exactly, that's your thing.
We can do that today.
That's why you keep showing Jared whenever Jared doesn't want you to show him.
He loves doing that.
Yep, that's fine.
I quit doing it.
It's part of it.
It was a serious tone when he told me.
It's part of it.
Yeah,
sure.
I could bring it back.
You want to go right into baseball?
I think we should.
You want to go right into baseball? Is that energy drink? What are you drinking?
No free ads.
Okay, I love that.
But
I love that.
If somebody would like to sponsor the show, get me energized, I'll take it.
Speaking of free ads, I know a lot of people are probably happy that we haven't had a lot of commercials or anything's coming up, but that's about to change just a tad. Not a ton. We're not going to be full of commercials, but popularity of the show has continued to grow. And we've had some conversations with some certain people, that want to sponsor the show, which means we're going to have more sponsors, which means we're going to have more to push and publicize and promote. And that is part of it. And so we're going to do that for everybody. We're going to make it fun like we always do. We're not going to be these boring commercials, but we're going to give these sponsors everything that they want so that we can continue to grow and be everything that we want. Be all you can be, Lloyd. That's what you want. Be all you can be. That's what the Army says.
In the mic'd up Army.
In the mic'd up Army.
I've seen be all you can be.
Be all you can be.
Probably sure.
They probably recruited you hard, huh?
Oh, tried to give me with a free cell phone.
That's it. Hey, free education.
I didn't want that.
Yeah, of course not.
No, I used to sprint by the booths. Like, y'all don't want me. Trust me. Let me get all this out here. I would be not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Great bunker guy, though. First in the foxhole. Last one out.
Are you?
Yeah, first one in there, get a good spot, and then I'm not leaving. I'll follow you up.
In the foxhole?
I'm covering up.
What about when battle gets hot?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm staying in.
Oh, like you're not going to fight?
No, I'm like, I got your six.
I was like, time out. That's not really a good thing if you're the last one out the foxhole.
I'm going to go catch the ride back. Hop in the plane.
Got it. Get some entertainment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Look, you just looking for the red flare to follow.
I'll bring my own.
You'd be more of the video game guy where you're controlling the drones and just dropping drones from the comfort of your.
He's the control
my couch.
Center, big control center guy.
Yeah, look at me now.
No doubt.
Dude, the Army would love this. Like, oh, what's your work experience? Just send them this picture.
The go ahead. You said, yeah, fuck it, just do it anyway. We'll see.
We're gonna blow him up
yeah,
anyway.
We'll see.
Only thing is if he's in the control center and like one of the lieutenants is in there saying, "Hey, do this," then Lloyd's 1,000%. Oh my bad, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to.
Listen to me
already.
You get that done yet? Mm-hmm.
Over under Lloyd staying in boot camp is
0%.
Over under days though. I think it's 2 days max.
Days?
2.5 days.
I'd give him 4 because he would be out to prove a point, and it would just be like after day 3, he's got some second day soreness in there. After day 3, he probably didn't want to wake up, and that's the point where he's like, nah, dog. It's not happening.
Yeah, I guess so. 3 days because I think that he would go there. Same thing, go through all the stuff, get a little sore. But I think what really is going to put him over the edge is hey, I'm going to go and check the little things that you're doing.
Make your bed.
Hey, your bed has a wrinkle in it. You got to go do 5 million up downs.
You think it's that? I think it's the promptness. I think the being on time.
That too.
After about day 3, it's out the window.
That too. But then he's going to start arguing, well, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. And it's going to happen. And I think that you say, okay, I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, we're not making our.
I think 3 days is a good move.
We covering up our foxholes every day. Got to dig a new one, or are we staying in the same one? What are we getting ready for?
There you go.
Get cozy.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
That's right. Hey, y'all forget that I made it through pledgeship. I could put my heart.
Yeah, but that's right. That's what you want. Like that's
you wanted all of that. That's the difference.
Yeah. My way through it was I just buddied up with the president real quick, and they forgot that I was a pledge. Like 2 weeks in. Making breakfast.
Yeah,
we'd sit in the kitchen while everybody was cleaning.
You do.
Yeah.
Bringing him his coffee.
Yeah.
Don't look. Hey Lloyd, go do this for me so you don't have to do the other stuff.
Yeah, but they didn't realize that that's what I was doing.
He was a big look over here, but I'm really over here.
So you're calling your pledge brothers dumb?
No, he's
just saying he was smarter than that.
Yeah, there's just angles to everything. I still did my civic duty as a pledge. Kept them entertained.
Is there something called a civic duty as a pledge?
That's how they refer to it in court.
Okay. Did you ever dress up in suits for the football games?
Yeah, I had some pictures out there.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have to sit in the. I didn't have to go to the games with the pledges.
How'd you get the booze in though if you were in a suit?
That's what I was about to say. I didn't have to go with the pledges. I would go because my family had seats. I was like, oh, I don't get to see my parents very often.
Oh, they let you do that?
Yeah, so I could get booze in.
Wow. Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Really gamed the system there.
I'm proud.
Shout out Mikie Mahtook.
Yep. Well, that's my cousin. Who was the president of the fraternity. Not when you were there. When you were there.
It was Troy Patterson.
Is he older than you? My cousin? No, they're the same age as you.
Yeah. I was cycle 8.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's how it works.
Cycle 8.
I had to hit the portal.
Let's get into this baseball conversation.
Cycle 8.
Cycle 8.
Cycle 8. I don't think Thatcher Hurd is getting a lot of the recognition. And I think that's probably a good thing for him, right? But I don't think he's getting the amount of recognition that he probably deserves. I think he's getting it on the major league side more than he's getting it on the college side right now.
Yeah, weirdly enough, it kind of reminds me of myself, right? Going into my junior year, I had not a very good start to my sophomore season, and I had a really good second half of the sophomore season. And so going into my junior year, I think it was the same thing. I think there was a little more buzz on the professional ball side than there was on, hey, what he'll actually do here this year. And I think he's getting a lot of that, and getting a chance to know him, I think this is a great thing for him because it gives him a little extra edge, a little extra attitude, a little extra something to grab to go every time he gets out there, because he's going to get a chance to be the premium marquee guy. And we all think he has the talent to actually be that and deliver as that. So I think this is something that fits him as a person really well. And I think he's going to be able to use it. But it's crazy because the stuff is front line.
Right.
And you saw what he did the second half of the year. But when these polls and stuff come out, it's always on the year line, right? They always look at the year's line and what he did last year and was like, oh, well, you're going to get something similar to this. We'll see.
It's the law of averages.
Together for a full season, you won't get that. So.
Well, and here's the thing. I think what you're saying, I think in the college side, these guys that are making these rankings, they're looking at stats.
Yeah.
But they're looking at the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, yeah, if you look at it from the angle that they're looking at it, it's like, oh, yeah, he didn't have a great season. He was good in the back end of the year, but he didn't have a great season. But then you really look into it, and you're like, well, he probably had 3 really bad outings. And in those outings, it's probably 2 innings on each outing, or an inning in each outing. And so you're like, okay, well, if you take those out, and you can't really take those out. Cut those in half.
You can't, yeah.
You know, you cut those in half, then all of a sudden his ERA goes from whatever it was, 5.5 to probably 3.5. And to me, I think that there's, like, listen, when Kevin Gausman was a free agent, he got designated from the Reds. Or he got designated from the Braves, and the Reds picked him up, and the Reds took him off the roster. He was a free agent. He signed with the Giants because the Giants looked at his advanced stats, and they looked at him and said, okay, this was your ERA. Why was your ERA the way it was? Well, you still had a lot of swings and misses. You threw a lot of strikes. You didn't walk a bunch of guys. You still had your velocity. So what's going on? And they looked at his average of balls in play, and it was absurdly high. And he had a high ground ball rate. So these balls that are getting through that are ground balls, which is not normal. And so they looked at it and said, hey, you know what? You've got all the numbers that we like from a starting pitcher. We just feel like you had a really, really unlucky season because of that. So they signed him. He goes out there, balls out. And they sign him again to another one-year deal. It does even better. And so all those numbers that made his numbers not great came back down to normal. And it was like, oh, now you're a really good pitcher. And I think there's a lot to be said about that. Analytics aren't the whole answer, but there's things to look at a guy and say, okay, I know this guy is pitching better than his numbers say. And I think that's Thatcher Hurd. That's what I think. So I think he's going to have a monster year, and I think that I wouldn't be shocked if I looked up and saw he's a first-team All-American at the end of the year. That's what I think.
Do you think he'll be the Friday night guy?
I think to start the season,
Start the year? Because a lot of people, obviously, you read off the
Luke
list,
Holman.
but Luke Holman has gotten to a little Twitter sparse with a Wake Forest guy. Not me. Mik'd did. And, yeah. Called the account a couple has-beens.
Mike, is that you tweeting every day from that thing?
has-beens. We are has-beens, technically.
But you weren't tweeting, though.
I was not tweeting, but we technically are has-beens.
Yeah.
I enjoy being. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
That means you were something at
I
some
was something
point.
at one point.
I never was. The replacements. You weren't even a has-been. You would never was. Paul Crew. No, it's not Paul Crew. It's the Shane Falco.
Shane Falco.
Yeah. Went to
Florida State.
There you go. But the Wake Forest, obviously still a little salty about the College World Series, was trying to – apparently they hit Holman hard whenever they played him. I didn't even know that they played. But they were saying, oh, we shell your Friday night guy. You're not the team you were last year. And Mik'd
Y'all aren't either.
Yeah. Seemed y'all lost a pretty important Friday night guy.
Your best player that's supposed to be a first rounder this year was too hurt to play in that game.
He's coming back.
I know.
Their Friday night guy this year, I would imagine, the guy that's probably going to take the Friday night spot this year, he got booted out of a weekend rotation spot last year. So what are we talking about here? Y'all aren't the same team. Like, what do we? Are you sure y'all got that?
Nobody knows anything at this point.
Nobody knows
But
anything.
that's part of that was kind of the part of the argument. Is like we shelled Holman or whatever, and we're like I don't think we know who the Friday night guy is yet. But if we had put money, you'll probably see Thatcher Hurd on a Friday night. And he was like, who? He's like the guy that put 5 down your throat in Omaha.
6 runs. I think 6
Yeah,
innings, huh?
6 innings, no earned.
Yeah.
You mean who? The one that made
The
sure
one
you
that
got
won
on
the
that
game.
plane ticket that you bought home. That's the one. That's who.
That Thatcher.
That guy.
So
But yeah, I mean, look, that's great. I think the fact that you have Holman and you have Thatcher,
it's a good problem to
fight.
have.
Yes, having 2 aces nowadays, you need 2 aces, and then you get Gage Jump, who Gage Jump has been throwing his ass off since he's been here. I think the biggest thing about him is, one, he gives you that lefty in the lineup, in the rotation. He also gives you, he has a competitive sense about him, right? He has a competitive nature about him on the mound that I think Jay likes a lot. He's mentioned it a lot to us, that this guy he loves to compete, and he's kind of got that attitude, which is a huge thing to have. Then you got some young guys. You have guys who have been here for a couple years, and they're going to have more experience. And you have guys that you brought in, and you have guys that are coming off the injury, like they were hurt last year. And I think you have some guys that you don't even know the names of right now that are gonna ball out. And so I think those 3 guys are gonna be the 3 rotation guys. I think you're gonna see a couple other guys kind of try to fight their way into that rotation, which is nothing but good stuff. That's nothing but good for the team.
Well, because you had Kendall Rogers came out with his D1 baseball report on LSU, and that was the first thing he mentioned. He's like, I know that this may be shocking to like the casual fan and what you think of when you think of LSU, like offense. He's like, even with losing Paul Skeens, like you don't get to see that rarely ever. He's like, the real strength of this team is going to be their bullpen because of how deep LSU is. And I think that we don't know how many people are casual viewers of LSU baseball, and those usually get kind of weeded out pretty early in the season, and then they kind of stay in their same course throughout the year, where they want to see football on dirt and grass as opposed to baseball, and then you see people find their roles. But to those that have watched and know what LSU did in the portal and who they have, I don't think you'll be shocked to see a bunch of arms come out there and a bunch of arms come out there probably multiple times a game.
Right.
Like you're not going to get 8 innings like you did with Skeens or 9 when it's every Friday. That's what a Friday night guy is. That's what people are going to expect now.
Well, and look, you want your Friday night guy to be able to go 8, 9 innings. I think if your Friday guy goes 6 really strong innings, 7 strong innings, like that's
Bridget.
great. Yes.
That's
Like you
the
can't
baton.
expect somebody to go 8, 9 innings every time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They
Not
saw
very many
Skeens,
guys. Aaron Nola did it, and Paul Skeens did it. Those are really the 2 guys that I can count on. That I looked at like, okay, every Friday, they were probably going to go 8 or 9 innings. That was it every time. I can't think of another one in my lifetime that I've seen.
I think it's one of those things too, man. It's like, especially in college baseball, obviously in pro baseball, it's not much different, but it's really hard to find it in college baseball. If we're looking at somebody who can go 7+ almost every time out, they got to have extreme command and control of the fastball. And I think that's the one thing at that point where it's really hard to find in college, right? Like, all right, is it good enough for me to put it kind of wherever I want to? And then if I could throw something else off of it, we got a chance here. It's hard to find that in college. Doesn't matter how explosive the fastball is. Doesn't matter how much it may move. If you don't have those 2 things on it, it's going to be hard for you to pitch deep in the game. So, just think about guys you actually know that have that in college. The number is going to be small, and the list is going to be real short.
Agreed. And I think that the list is short, but I think LSU's got the potential in their rotation to have a few guys on that list. You know what I mean? A few guys that are able to do that. So that's where I feel. I wanted to bring that up because of Thatcher, right? Because I don't think Thatcher's getting a lot of.
It's a good, like you said, it's a good thing. It'll be a pleasant surprise, and I think a lot of people kind of, whether it be glance at the box score, they felt like they had a kind of full scale of what Thatcher did by basing it off of when you saw him early, it's like, oh, this is who he is. And then if you don't take into account Omaha, which I think is crazy because you do that when players are going to get drafted, right? Like you look at Omaha almost more than, like you put a magnifying glass on it because it's so important when guys play well in Omaha or the college football playoffs, it's your draft stock goes up. And it feels like Thatcher didn't get that bump because he's coming back.
Right. And it's just he's just not getting the credit of what he did in the back end, to your point, right? Like he's
Figured it out.
Yeah. Like he pitched really well. He was a big reason why they made that run. And he's not getting that, and that's okay. I think he's cool. He's cool with that. I think people were talking a lot about the pitching staff, and that's rightfully so. I think what people are going to start talking about, I wouldn't be shocked early on if you saw this offense start off hot against some of the competition they're getting early. So you're going to have a lot of guys, a lot of people start talking about, oh, look how good this team is. Offensively, look what they're doing. And yes, I think they are going to be very good offensively. I think they're going to hit a spot where they're going to face some good competition. You got to figure some stuff out. But the reports that we've been getting on some of these young guys that are actually getting extended time have been really good. I mean, Tommy White came on here last week. I mean, on Monday, right? Yeah, Monday.
Yeah.
Wow. Feels like it was last week. Tommy White came in here on Monday and was basically raving on how good the offense has been, on how great Paxton Kling has been, how great Brown has been, on how great Braswell has been at shortstop and hitting and swinging the bat, and Stravinsky and all these guys. And so when you hear him talk like that, you're like, okay, like we know they're talented, but are they going to really produce? And the way he's talking about it makes me excited to see what the offense is going to do. I think it's going to be a different look offense, but it's going to be really – they're still going to score a bunch of runs. I just think they're going to score them in different ways.
When it comes to being able to – early season, right, because we all know this thing, like numbers get a little inflated when you play non-conference games. Then you get to kind of the meat and potatoes of the schedule in the conference. When it comes to judging this offense, in y'all opinion, this year, early on, what's going to be like one of the key things that y'all are kind of looking for when y'all watch them play?
Me?
Yeah. Whether it's this person or however they handle this, or like what's one of the key things that you if you see it, you're going to be like, I think this offense. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I want to see them understand the strike zone, right? Like, because early on, you're going to be playing teams that aren't as talented as you, right? They may have one good arm, and then the bullpen's going to be kind of all over the place or kind of around the strike, not around the strike zone, whatever they are. So for me, I want to see these guys understand what they're trying to do early on in the season, and not come out of their approach and not try to say, okay, I'm gonna get
First pitch fastball.
Well, I'm gonna hit 5 home runs in 2 games and start off on this blazing hot start. I'd rather them say, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go out there and I'm just literally gonna just do what I've been doing, and I'm gonna let it come to me and just basically control the strike zone, right? Not chase, make these guys beat them on the mound, which isn't gonna happen, and then whenever they do make mistakes, I want to see them drive the ball with some authority in the gap. And if I can see that, I'd feel a lot more comfortable about them, okay, because that translates. As you go, no matter how good you are as a pitcher, like to be able to understand what you're trying to do in the strike zone, I think that translates moving forward.
What about you?
Before I say this, I will say what you said about Tommy White, how he was like kind of raving about the offense, that speaks volumes to me because of who he's seen them against. We were just raving about the pitching staff. He's only seen LSU play LSU at this point.
Right.
So I think the offense is a little bit ahead of where we think it is. But from what I want to see personally from the LSU offense is how they kind of manipulate the lineup in terms of people doing their jobs in the correct way. Like you hit here, or knowing their role with people on base, what to do, like playing a type of baseball that isn't reliant too much on, we just got to get it around to Tommy White and Stravinsky. Like, where you get them up with 2 outs. Like, I wanted to see them kind of run the carousel around the bases where it's timely hitting, it's playing it the right way, because you don't have a Dylan Cruz at the top of your lineup every day now. Like, there's going to be players that haven't been in roles before that are going to have to be in a role to succeed. They're going to have to succeed for LSU to play well that didn't have that responsibility last year. So when you talk about like a Paxton Kling or a Bear Jones, like the opportunity is going to be there, and you're not going to go 1,000 for 1,000 and hit 5 home runs on 3 pitches. Like, it's not going to go that way. But to stay within yourself and kind of keep plugging away until you figure out halfway through the year where it's like, okay, we have a consistent lineup of 9 guys that you're going to throw out there, and that thing's set. Because I think that's the best way to kind of play baseball.
I guess to wrap this all up into like a phrase, I want to see professional at bats early on.
Well, I asked a question, and both of y'all kind of gave me like the exactly what do you mean. So I tried to steer you away from what my thought process was, and you still answered it the same way. Literally, I go back to, I think it was Mardi Gras break last year. They played like a midday Wednesday game against Southern this past year, and they had like 8,000 people in the stand still. And I went to this game, and I distinctly remember being in like the third, fourth, fifth inning, and I sat there watching. I'm like, boy, they are a bitch to get out. They get to 2 strikes. They keep fouling balls off. They don't chase. Then all of a sudden there's this mistake made, and there's a ball put in play hard. I go, that day last year was the day I was like, I think this offense is real. And I knew we already kind of thought it because of the names that were on the team, but to actually see it at that point, that's when I was like, yeah, this is different. You don't usually see 1 through 9 being able to stay in at bats and stay in counts and get behind in counts and fight their way back to even counts, get hits late. I was like, this is different. Right. So you basically said exactly what I was thinking. If I can see them we're not trying to get to 2 strikes, right? Like, that's not the thing. But, like, when they're getting pitches in the zone, they're not missing. When they're getting to 2 strikes, it's not 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, sit down. It's 0-1, 0-2, get back to 2-2, get back to 3-3. Spit on some pitches, foul some balls off, hard line drive. Maybe it's an out, maybe it's a hit. Stuff like that, you're like, okay, this is a real offense.
Ask any pitcher, who would they rather face? Would you rather face a guy who maybe will go hit the homer, but he's either going to hit the homer, strike out, or get out early in the count? Or would he rather face a guy who is going to make him work? He's going to fight off pitches. He's going to have 6, 7, 8 pitch at bats all the time, and he's going to make you. He's going to put a lot more stress on your pitches, and they'd rather the first guy. Yeah, this first guy may be a little more dangerous, but I know if I do what I'm supposed to do, I can get him out early in the count. This other guy, he's going to make me work, and you know, if I make a mistake, he's going to make me pay for it. And to me, that translates no matter where you're at, no matter who you're playing, no matter what talent you're playing against. And so, you know, that's why I'm a huge fan of Pearson. I think Pearson puts together a lot of professional at-bats. Tommy White puts together a lot of professional at-bats. He may have an ugly swing once or twice in that bat, but he makes the adjustment. Dylan Cruz had a bunch of professional at-bats. You had, you know, Gavin Dugas did the same thing, right? He'd do it or whatever he could do to get on base. You had all these types of guys. Trey Morgan would fight pitches off and be difficult outs, right? Like, you had all those guys that would do that. And so now I want to see these young guys do those same things, right? And
or not even necessarily the young guys, the guys that just haven't done it at that rate in purple and gold, right? Like, you're going to have a Mac Bingham kind of mixed in there. He's got a lot of college at-bats under his belt. You got Jared Jones, who has a ton of college at-bats under his belt. You got Paxton Kling, who has a good amount of college at-bats under his belt. Okay, how consistently can you do those high-end things this year? That's where the difference becomes, you know?
Yeah, and I think that kind of plays into the Travinsky and even Bear Jones role, where it's you were kind of put in there for one reason. Like, we want to see the big swing because you weren't really asked to do anything else. These other guys are going to get on base. You didn't have to take, like, professional at-bats because everybody else kind of was. It's like, okay, you have to just don't throw them a fastball because they're going to hit it to the moon. Now they're going to be up 4 times in the game where it's, okay, you can't go over 4 Ks and swing at 12 pitches.
Right.
And, like, when you talk about professional at-bats, the first player I think of is, like, a Chris Taylor that played for the Dodgers that just was leadoff guy that would make you throw 10 pitches. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, at some point, something's got to give. And in college, it's usually the pitcher. If you're able to do that, like, at some point they get frustrated on the mound.
Think about this. If you have 2 guys in your lineup that are really good at that, fighting off pitches, battling, pesky at bats,
getting hit by pitches,
make the guy throw 7, 8 pitches, right, as opposed to 4. Okay, so you have 2 guys in the lineup that do that, and let's say they face the starter 3 times. So that means every time they're facing, they're making them throw 7 pitches. Let's say 3 extra pitches in at bat. All right, so 2 guys are facing him 3 times. So that means he's throwing 6 extra pitches to 2 guys in the lineup 3 separate times, right? And that could be the difference between him going an extra inning, an extra 2 innings, right, or coming out early in the game. The longer you make him throw and the more pitches you make him throw, the more likely it is that he's going to make a mistake. He's going to throw something over the plate, and that's where big innings come from and all those types of things. And so, it's more of a chain reaction than just, okay, this one guy is doing it well, he's going to get hits. I think that one guy doing it, the next guy doing it, it just allows the lineup to kind of get more in a rhythm. The more pitches you see, the better you're going to play.
It's bad. I mean, Tommy talked about it against Wake Forest, where they were just trying to get the starter out the game. They were like, at some point, because I guess everybody it wasn't a dirty secret that Wake Forest manages their staff that way. So I'm sure they were trying, like, let's see as many pitches as we can to either get the pitch count up or make it as hard as we can for him to get to the 7th. Because at that point, it's ball game 1 and we got Skeens, and we just can't give up more than 2. And we think Paul can do that. And then if we can put up 1 run, which is essentially what it came down to, we can win a game and play again. And
right.
If you could do that against a ace, then you take that same approach, and it leads to winning baseball.
And here's another guy I want to talk. I mean, another thing I want to bring up. We talk about Jared Jones. We talk about, like, oh yeah, he struggled sometime a little bit last year. Swinging and missing, or chasing pitches and all these types of things. He's a freshman. It took some time to get some used to. But let's not forget, he started in 47 games, and so you forget a little bit about him because he didn't play in the last 9 games of the regular season, and he didn't really play in the postseason at all. So you kind of forget that. So you did 9 games plus, let's say, was it 3 games in the SC tournament? So that's 12 plus another 3 games in the regional plus another 2 games. Did they go to 3 games in the Supers?
I think they played 2.
I think they played 2
against Tennessee.
Yeah, so you got 12, right? Like, you went 12 games, so 14 games plus basically all Omaha. So you had almost 20 games that at the end of the year that wasn't starting. And so that's say you average 4 at-bats a game. That's 80 extra at-bats that you don't have. But in those 47 games that he did start, he hit .304 with 12 doubles, 14 home runs, and 45 RBIs. And that's missing the last basically 20 games of the season not playing. My point in saying that is those numbers are really good for a freshman.
I know his dad's going to hate this. Him and I had a conversation about this, but I can't wait to see him play this year. And it's not because I can't wait to see the highlight part of it. I want to see him minimize the lowlights. I want to see him get deep into accounts and still be able to convert and still be able to put balls and play hard and do those things. Like, I think you start watching him do that, you're going to be like, oh, shit, because the top end's going to be even higher once he starts doing that. And I'm like, that's what I kind of want to see when it comes to him.
And I think he knows that too. There was an article written about him recently that came out where that was pretty much his entire approach throughout the entire offseason was, I know what I have to work on. It's not like it's a secret, and it's like I feel comfortable now in my role at first. And then Jay was quoted and said, you don't have to be Trey Morgan on defense, but take some of his offense a little bit as far as the approach to the plate. We know the big ones are going to come. But if you can be like just kind of evolve your game a little bit, which is something that I feel like they've worked on all year, and I don't expect to be this big leap, but just a change where you can keep him in the lineup would be a win.
He's going to be the starter.
I know that, but I'm saying keep him in the lineup. Like,
right.
You said he's the starter for now, so you always leave wiggle room. But I believe that, I think everybody's got a
for now tag. Let's just be honest.
Absolutely. But I think that if you can make that
if
little
Dylan
bit
Cruz
of change,
was 0 for 45, there's a for now tag to him too. Everybody's got a for now tag. You don't have to say it. Everybody's got it. So.
Now I think we think Tommy's gonna have a big year, right? But
never seen him play healthy.
Right. Now Tommy's gonna hit. He's gonna hit homers, and he's gonna drive in some runs. But last year he drove in 105. You also had a guy in the lineup, Dylan Cruz, who scored over 100 runs. You don't have that.
Who was on base at almost a 600 clip.
And so, look, I think that you may not be driving in Dylan Cruz. I think there's going to be enough guys on base for him to be able to drive in a bunch of runs. Does he get to 100? I don't know. I think he gets 80+. I think he hits 30 homers this year, though. That's my prediction on Tommy White. I think he gets to 30 home runs.
I think he goes to 25+. He loves this number. He loves going high. 30 is so goddamn many.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to bring him down. I'm really not. But 30 is so many.
I think he hits 30. He had 24 last year, and he was hurt. I think that if they make it all the way through.
Come on. Listen, at the end of the day, was he hurt? Yes. There is no question about it.
Right. No, I get it. He missed. I mean, he probably missed, a week
he missed a couple games,
7 games probably total.
Yeah.
So my point is, I'm not saying, 24, let's say he hits 3. I mean, he's 6 home runs is very doable for him to do. I think that's a lofty thing, but I think he gets 30. I mean, Caglianone did it last year.
When I think
he
about
gets to 30.
Yeah, when I think about Tommy being hurt, I think about. So to me, when you watched him play, you didn't know he was hurt, right? And so I don't think about it took so much away from what the possibility was. It just tells me that the guy's super strong mentally, that he has a very, very, very high pain threshold. But when those things are, I won't say that, not obviously the mental part isn't going, but when the pain threshold isn't a part of the game, it doesn't make me feel like, oh my God, the performance will go through the roof, like even or further through the roof than what it was. It just makes me feel like those 7 or 8 games or maybe a couple at bats, you may get even more out of them. Does that turn into 5 to 10 more homers? I don't know. If it does, it's awesome, right? And then at that point, he'll hit the 30 number. I'm just saying, just looking through the history of college baseball, how much you got to play, 30's tough to get to, and I don't give a damn how good you are. So that's my only pushback on that.
It's hard. I mean, it's a lofty prediction, but
it's a prediction.
I saw Jack do it, Caglianone do it last year, and I think that Tommy's a better hitter. Now, I think it's going to be very dependent upon Stravinsky.
Yeah,
the protection. Stravinsky and Jones. Let's be honest about it.
Right. So Stravinsky's got to have to be able to put fear into the opponent to where they're not just walking Tommy or pitching around him. And that's the other part of Tommy that I want to see his maturity of hey, I know that if the guy behind me is not feeling great, they're going to make Stravinsky prove to them that
should be a fair to
he's going to be the guy, he's the guy that can't let him beat us, right? So they're not going to let, or especially early on, they're not going to let Tommy beat him. And they're going to try to pitch around him, and they're going to pitch him tough. And it's up to Tommy to say, okay, I'm not going to swing at the stuff that I don't want to swing at. I'm going to take my walk, and I'm going to trust that Stravinsky is going to drive me in, right? And once Stravinsky starts to do that, now all of a sudden, okay, we can't just pitch around him. We're going to have to pitch to him, and you get that. So I think it's going to be dependent upon that, but I think Stravinsky's going to have another big year if he stays healthy.
And I'll bring this point into it as well, since you mentioned Caglianone, and I don't know his splits. Literally don't. But let's not forget he played at Florida, and that field is an absolute bandbox.
Right.
So that could also have helped him get to that 30 plateau as opposed to Tommy playing here.
For sure. And he's a big dude, and he has a bunch of juice. I get all of that. But I think Tommy's a better hitter.
I would agree with that easily.
Yeah. Right.
For Tommy, he's got 30 is a big number because of everything that you said, and I get why you would you could get there because I think he could hit 30. But he also is going to have to take the same approach that Dylan Cruz took last year, where I'm not seeing shit. And so I'm not going to go start chasing. I might get walked 3 times this game. But at some point, and people aren't going to like to see it if Tommy walks, goes 1 for 1 in a game with 3 walks. Because that's going to happen. That's the way they treated Cruz last year. We're not going to let him beat us. And then it became, well, Tommy's going to beat you every time if you do that. So you had to start pitching to both, and that's LSU got uber hot. And
I know you want Tommy to be in the middle of the lineup to drive runs in.
Right.
But if they start doing that, do you put him in the leadoff spot? And you say, hey, all right, you want to walk me?
Fine.
Walk me all you want, but you're going to put me on base with all these guys behind me. And I think that they would still do it because Tommy's not a threat on the bases. So I think in their mind it's all right, I'll take the chance of you not hitting the homer and this other guy having to hit a double to score you, at least a double to score you. But, it's dependent upon the guys behind them to prove that they can drive guys in to where they don't pitch around them.
And the guys in front of him too, right? He had the guys behind him play as well as they did last year, but it also helped a lot when you had Trey and Dylan hitting in front of you, and Dylan's on base at a 600 clip, and now he's at second, and you got these guys behind him, so it's all it takes is a single anyway. We might as well just pitch to him, and then all of a sudden it's a homer, right? So those guys in front of him are going to play a big role in the sense of, hey, if y'all aren't getting on, and we know we're not as scared behind, well, why am I pitching to you?
Right.
I'll just take my chances of letting you chase or getting on base because Tommy's not a threat to run on, right? So when he gets on, you're not thinking, oh, my God, a ball in the gap, he's most likely going to score. It's almost a definite that he's going to score. So it's one of those things where this is, to me, in my mind, that's the approach that, or the things that's hard to understand about this level in baseball on up, is that a lot of your success, I won't say your success, a lot of the pitches you get at bat in and
Your
game in and
opportunity
game
for
out,
success.
your opportunity for success becomes amplified by what guys around you are doing or not doing.
For sure. That's why protection is the biggest thing. And some people believe in it, some people
Protection's
don't.
huge. Yeah, it's true.
Very true.
Well, some would say opposite. Just depends on what your goals are.
Depends on what you're trying to do.
Depends on how elite you are at timing.
Right? Or how much control you got.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, all of those things
Discipline,
come into play.
discipline.
Discipline's a big one.
Discipline's huge.
How you do anything is how you do everything, right? Like, it's a big thing. But
Tight squeeze.
it is, one of those things where
Or the squeeze play.
if everyone's doing the same things like that, and like as far as battling through, making it tough, putting together really good at bats, I think Tommy has going to have the ability to have the numbers that he had last year. And then I think 30 is lofty. I get it. But
Mason Taylor could catch, go
it's
for 1,000
okay.
yards.
This is more realistic than that one, unless he doesn't.
Mason Taylor this year, though.
Maybe Mason Taylor.
I would
this year.
double down on it.
Listen. I know the ability. I've seen it. I've seen the ability he's got. I saw it over the middle in the bowl game. You can have a guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. So,
You were
you need
way
a guy
in the
like
future.
Your guy. He's gonna have the most experience on this team, a pass catcher.
Kyron Lacey.
But he has more.
Yeah.
No, same.
Same.
He'll have the same amount as Kyron Lacey. So you need another guy. He's the guy.
You just didn't account for Jaden Daniels running for 800 yards. Those are all Mason Taylor's yards he took.
No, 1,200 yards.
1,200 yards.
Yeah.
That was Lamar that ran for 800.
Yeah. I didn't take
Until-
into account Brian Thomas doing what he did. Is what I didn't do.
It didn't account for them just throwing the ball 60 yards down the field every play.
That I didn't either. I thought it was going to be a little bit more over the
Methodical.
middle. Yeah, but it wasn't, which I'm good with. So I was wrong, but I may have just been a year off.
That's what I'm saying. You were predicting way too far.
I'm not
in
going
advance.
1,000. I'm gonna go 750 next year.
He's going to go for 1,200.
And he's gonna break the record of receiving yards from
Double it
anybody
down.
ever.
Give me back that 1,000.
Yeah, he's gonna catch 2,100 yards receiving next year, something stupid.
Kayshawn probably heard the show. He's like, damn, I put Mason
He's gonna
Taylor
put some
for
money down.
1,000.
He's gonna put some money down. Future player, Heisman Trophy, first Heisman Trophy tight end ever. 2,100 yards receiving.
Put 10 on it.
I mean, he's gonna make another bet and then another bet.
I don't think
and
he was
another
putting
bet.
10 too much on much at all.
So what happens with that with him?
I mean, you got to let the legal system.
He got booked and then he got
bailed
released,
out.
bailed out, right? So like now
Guilty
what's
until-
he's gonna have to
innocent
go? Is he gonna have to
guilty.
pay? He's gonna have to he's not gonna be put in jail, is he?
What is he going to have to pay?
It's called a bail. That's what bail bondsmen do.
Yeah, that's how he got out.
Well, I know, but like,
He's got to get arraigned and go to court.
yeah, I guess you guys, I guess you do.
Well,
have
yeah,
to go
but
to
say, so
court.
what
There's
is
no
like-
plea. You're not gonna plea out because it's not a civil case, so it's a criminal case. So
It's a felony.
right, so like you have to go to court. You can take a plea, but the only way you take a plea is if you admit guilt, which he's gonna have to admit guilt
I mean, his screen name was
to get
Kayshawn
it.
Booty 1.
Yeah, to get like a lesser sentence, right? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I mean,
What's the do we know like what the max is or what he's looking at?
from what I read, like the felony count is 6 years. The minimum is like fines or a year.
Okay.
Fine. See, he already paid. That's what I'm talking about.
No,
Like actual fines, not the bail himself
The
out.
bail is
Yeah, yeah.
you pay a bail.
I know that. I know how bails work.
Okay.
I'm
But
talking
is
about after the fact, like
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the case.
Well, so say he hasn't paid any of it, whatever.
No, I
whatever
know.
that may be. Yeah.
I'm talking about fines that he's gonna have to
Yeah.
pay. I'm talking about bail. I know how bails work.
I was concerned.
No, he got out of. I'm talking about moving forward with the case. Whenever he has to go and say, "Hey, you're pleading. What is the verdict?"
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
good.
you have to pay fine. This,
Yeah.
you had this amount of money. You got to pay a $200,000 fine. or whatever it
Depending
is.
on how much
That's what I was
evidence is
talking about.
proven true in court, considers how heavy or lenient the sentence is.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
So
what,
then you
yeah,
can
but
take-
see,
I
or
know
what
how
they can
bail
actually,
bonds work.
or what they can actually hook him for, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and
What
then-
what might actually stand in court?
Say you go meet with the attorney and they say, you can take a deal or this is what we're charging you with. And you're like, bullshit, you ain't got it. And then you go to court.
I know
yeah.
how that works.
And so that's how we'll pay a fine if he says, I'm not guilty.
That is the plea bargain.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I know how that'll work.
There does seem to be a lot of like trail to this particular situation. Like, how far down can you plead this thing down is the question, I guess, right?
He's gonna admit guilt. It's just.
But how far down can
Right.
you get it? That's my point.
Right. It's like, okay, guilt. Do I need
Like if they're able to get IP addresses, obviously screen names and all this stuff, and literally trace it back to him, then there's a chance that whatever the maximum is, they could take it to closer to that to say like this is what we got on you.
Right.
That's where it becomes sticky at.
Or they can make an example out of them.
Yes.
Which would not be.
Yeah,
good.
but the example is we have enough to be able to go this high. Like they're not going to go that high if they know it's not going to stand in court.
Right, for sure.
So like it's like what can they actually trace back to?
And if it's more than one person, if he's running like a ring, like who's the? Give us some more names.
That's what I honestly think it was a ring too. I think it was.
That's too many bets for one.
Too many bets for one
Too
human.
much money. Too many bets.
Too many bets for one human. There's just no way. You have no time to do nothing else in the day if that's how many bets you're putting in for a year straight.
You
And
can't
he
do
was
that.
at least
He's got somebody else placing bets
at
for
practice.
Or I think a couple of people were all doing it on the same account. That's how we did it in college.
him. Just incriminate yourself. Right there.
I mean, I was 21 in college.
You were? Well, at one point.
At one point.
Not the whole time.
But I also wasn't placing bets from LSU football ops. So
You also
they might
didn't,
have got
and you
him
also
there.
didn't deposit like $100,000 into your thing, but you also didn't win $500,000.
Exactly.
Or be
I
up.
saw something that said it was going through like his mom's cards too. I'm like, good God.
Yeah.
What?
Like her cards were the ones that were linked to the account.
He went through all that trouble, but then made a screen name Kayshawn Booty 1.
Oh man!
Like you gonna take your mom's card.
And maybe
her
his
credit,
mom, and then just said,
And on
"Oh,
it.
I'm gonna put Kayshawn. I'm just gonna make his."
It might have been a
screen name
family
mine."
betting account. The whole
Yeah,
the
Kayshawn
family.
gonna score a touchdown tonight.
Yeah,
baby.
that's it.
85
Bet on
yards.
himself.
We put his
touchdown.
name on it because it was good luck.
Super fan.
It was good luck. This is
Just a fan of the man.
Yeah.
That's a tough deal.
There's a lot of wiggle room, I would think, to
Yeah.
not get 6 years.
I think
in
he's
prison.
not getting 6 years.
No,
He's
I
gonna
don't
get.
think
I don't think he's getting any jail time.
No, he just won't play football again.
That may happen.
Because even if he does, whatever happens, and if he's still a part of an NFL team, they'll suspend him, like the NFL will. Make an example.
That's
Calvin
tough,
Ridley.
man. That's a tough way to go.
Great freshman year.
You know, this is tough. Great half of a freshman year.
Best SEC single game performance we've ever seen.
You think they wipe it from the record books?
No, that was before the betting started.
Maybe. No, it was. That was before it was, the sport. Unless it
Yeah.
wasn't a sports book, but was it a sports book? Or was it like an
It was
actual
online.
bookie? So it wasn't. It was an actual sports book.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna really go ahead and guess that that SEC record-setting performance was before you ever started betting. I'm just gonna go ahead and guess.
Maybe
that.
that's how you got that 500K.
I'm just
put in
gonna
this?
guess that.
Kayshawn over 395.
I mean, if you're betting on yourself, though,
Could you imagine if he was betting at that point?
It's like just racking up.
just killing it. I mean, that 500 and some thousand that he was up may have been 5 million.
Oh man!
Because he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna have 15 catches today. I'm gonna score a touchdown. I'm gonna get 100 and some yards receiving."
And he did it.
And he would do it. And after
Then
that,
he ended up down 80 grand, so probably that sophomore, junior year when he kept betting on himself.
Is that how much he ended up down? Mm-hmm. They say he withdrew like $50-some thousand, right?
Yeah, but that's when he was up 500. So at the end of the day, if you only withdraw,
Right. So he ended up losing.
yeah.
But that didn't say that was like all over. Like
Yeah, I don't know
like
if
a
that's all he
single-
withdrew, but it was. That's how pretty much how it played out on the online.
On the online.
When people like looked at his account, he had 80K left or something like that. So
Wow.
not great, Bob.
Not great.
But he was hot for a second.
He was hot, or his conglomerate was hot. Whatever the heck it was.
Alex Caruso.
You know who's not hot?
This guy.
Is the NCAA.
Oh no.
Not hot. They haven't been hot. They've been on.
Sticky.
They've been on a little cold streak here lately.
You know who deposited some money in the NCAA account to try
Who's
to
that?
get back
Who's
the
that?
NCAA? Mm-hmm. One more bet.
Hey, here's the deal. We they watched the movie Rocky, and they've just been getting pounded and pounded and pounded, just taking a bunch of hits
There you
on the
go.
mat, on the mat, on the mat, and they're like, hey, you know what?
Cut me, Mick.
You're gonna have to kill me before you're done, right? I'm not quitting. So they pop up, and they have this. The bell rang, and they kind of go in the corner, and they come out around 12 swinging. And what do? Hey, all this NIL stuff that we said was legal, we're just gonna go ahead and just start making trouble.
Shoot from the hip.
And we're just gonna start making trouble. We're gonna start saying that's illegal now, even though it's very much legal. And we are going to try to throw these haymakers and just try to see if one lands and we can just get everything back to normal and come back and win.
And be back in charge of college football.
And so they go in there and they're swinging, but you know what happens is I think they swing and the Russian gets underneath and comes back with the uppercut that's on its way right now. And I think it's a night-night.
It's a volunteer uppercut.
And so right now Tennessee is suing the NCAA because the NCAA did what they always do.
What'd they do?
And this is no rant.
What'd they do?
They jumped the gun and said, oh, this is what we want to do, and we're going to do this without thinking about it.
False start. Offense.
And now, all of a sudden, instead of doing that, now it's going to come back to bite us in the ass, and we may not be a thing anymore because we are going to get sued by Tennessee. Virginia's in the lawsuit. Why is Virginia in the lawsuit?
I don't know.
But they're in it.
Hey, piggyback.
Everyone's about to jump in this and say, okay, well, you're wrong. And so now the NCAA is going to be in a situation where, like, are they going to be gone? Is it finally going to be over? How are they going to fix it? What are they going to do? Is football going to, like, how are they going to say, okay, you know what? You're right. We messed up. We shouldn't have done that. Sorry, can we take it back? Can we restart? I don't know what they do. But they are
Too little, too late.
going after Tennessee because Tennessee offered the freshman quarterback that is their quarterback now $8 million, allegedly, from the collective to come to LSU.
So they're not
come
just
to
coming
Tennessee.
after the old school way of money under the table or,
You're
getting,
more versed in this, so you can
illegal benefits. It is the first time that they've gone after an actual collective. Like the Florida State thing was they tried to peg an assistant coach for giving a recruit transportation to a booster. And this is they're going after the actual booster for the collective, which is by the state laws that have been passed in certain states. Tennessee is one of them, where collectives are legal through the state. Therefore, the NCAA doesn't really have a leg to stand on in terms of the law because this is legal. And so now they're trying to say that it is like a bad look for college football to be giving unfair advantage to teams that can essentially pay for play before they even hit campus.
Now, do I think it's a bad look as far as do I think that they should be able to pay these kids who come to school and all this money and never have stepped foot on campus? No. But do I think that it's an unfair advantage? Like, it's hard to say that because NIL is the thing. Like, there's always going to be more resources at bigger schools and smaller schools. That's just the way it is. But I mean, I do agree that I don't think that high school students should get paid $8 million just to come to school without stepping foot on campus. I don't care how good you are. NFL, it's easier to do that because they own the business. They run the business. They're able to pay these guys and make more money based off of the business. The college is not paying these students.
You're basically, by the law of what it is, you're basically asking the businesses to pay the players
without getting a return on their investment.
Yeah,
the return on their investment is just, I'm a big fan, and you're gonna win for our school, and you're gonna make our school a bunch of money.
You might get a handshake,
and I may not be making any money.
Like the Philadelphia Eagles make their money by you coming to the games, by them generating revenue from TV contracts, and they pay the players. This way, it's going is you're literally saying, hey, we don't have the money to pay him, so how about you pay him, Mr. Businessman?
And we do, but we just can't legally pay him, so you have to do it.
Exactly. That's a little different. It doesn't work the same way.
Billionaires build their own fucking stadiums.
They build their own stadiums, right? And so, like,
that's essentially what it is. It's asking the city to build your stadium for you. It's like, you the billionaire, you got money. Why are you asking me?
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like you have these students, these athletes getting paid, which is fine. I'm all for that. But I think they have to earn it. Like, not everybody – unfair advantage. Listen, in the real world, not everybody is in the same area. Like, you're not in the same position. Not everybody's going to get paid the same amount of money. Someone's better at something than the other one. They're going to get paid more. Someone's more successful. They're going to get paid more. And so, in professional football, if you are the 53rd man on the roster, you're getting paid your salary that you're getting paid from the owner of the team, but you're not getting endorsements. You're not making money off your name, image, and likeness, right? And
it doesn't matter what that name, image, and likeness is, really.
Right. And so the value of you doesn't support you getting paid, and that's okay. That happens. You get better, you get paid. College football, you don't have the contract that's paid by your owners. You have the scholarship, which let's call the scholarship the contract, right? Hey, here's your deal. You're on, this is what you're making, which is free school, whatever. So then you are now paying these athletes in their name, image, and likeness, but they don't really even have a name, image, and likeness yet.
5-star.
You're paying them to come here, and so you're spending all this money, but then they're not going out there and making you any money. Now, maybe they can do some advertising, and it's good for you and all this kind of stuff, which is fine, but they go out there on the field, they do their thing, they're going to make all this money, and Jay Jones was the Heisman. You think any of those guys that he had NILs deal with, unless they're national companies, made really anything off of it? No. LSU did, though. And I'm good with it. It's just
The SEC did.
there's got to be something.
Yeah.
There's got to be a change.
I would love to know what guys like Troy Smith or
Maurice Claret got in trouble for it.
hold on, Troy Smith or JT Barrett, once they got to professional football, where they ranked in endorsement money being made once they got to professional football. I would love to know where they're at. My guess, not the top of the list. So we can't be paying all this money simply off of name, image, and likeness when you haven't done anything on the field at this level.
Right.
You know
And
what
now,
I'm saying?
You
to your point,
You didn't with the Ravens' third-string quarterback's jersey? Former Heisman winner?
exactly. Right. But to your point, though, when they're in college, and Troy Smith was winning the Heisman, and JT Barrett was doing his deal and doing all that stuff. Okay, now you have some name, image, and likeness. Go out and you can market that. Go out and make some money off of that. Like do the
Because you've
things
finally
that-
done something. You've made a name for yourself.
So here's a perfect example about how dumb it was for you to do like make a name for yourself and not be able to get paid. In 2017, not that long ago. And the reason I'm talking about this because I literally just saw this on Twitter before the show. Y'all know this guy is a social media guy. He's the kicker, destroying.
Oh,
His
yeah.
name. He kicks like 70-yard field goals, all of this stuff, right? He was the starting kicker
Social
for
media
Central
star.
Florida, right? He made a YouTube channel, which millions and millions of people do, right? He made a YouTube channel when he was in college, and he grew that to 94,000 subscribers. And us being in the YouTube world, like that's very hard to do. He was entertaining, he was talented, he was fun. People wanted to follow him. The NCAA came to him and said, hey, you have to delete your YouTube channel. Now, he earned that himself, right? He built it based off of his own personal brand, his name, image, and likeness. He had people that want to follow him and built this channel that now you can make a bunch of money on YouTube. He was probably making a bunch of money with almost 100,000 subscribers. They
Especially
said,
then. Especially then.
Right? And they said, you have to delete your channel. He says,
Or
all right.
demonetize it, which
Or
is a dirty
demonetize it,
word.
which defeats the purpose.
Right.
He's like, okay, I quit. So he quit football to keep his channel, right? Which, okay, I respect it, and I'm not knocking kickers. But, hey, look, you're a kicker. You've done this. They've shown it. You've done it in the game. Keep kicking, and hopefully you can get picked up by somebody else and get an opportunity to go out and kick it professionally or do whatever, right? So he says, all right, I'm done. He doesn't play. He keeps growing it. Now he's got 5.5 million subscribers, and he's been doing all these different things. He's probably making a ton of money doing it. He just got picked up by, I think, the USFL, right? Or the UFL now, the UFL. And he's going to have an opportunity to play professional football and keep his name going and get to the NFL and be able to continually monetize it. But my whole point in saying this is, how dumb is that?
He actually did it the right way.
He did it the right way. He said, I am creating this YouTube channel. I like it. I like doing this. And people like watching me do it, and they're going to subscribe to it. It was free subscription. He's getting paid just on ads that YouTube is giving him.
Yep.
And they said, you can't do that, which is stupid to me.
You
Had
can't
the
make money off
NCAA allowed athletes to be able to do that, this wouldn't be the issue. You wouldn't have had people clamoring for, oh, you need to do this. You say, okay, well, let's be smart about this. Is this hurting the game? No. They are doing this themselves. They're trying to build their own brand. Let them do that. And now you said, oh, we don't like that. We can't do it. Well, then you lost in court, and now NIL's a thing, and now it's grown to this thing that you don't know how to
Mushroom
fix.
Cloud, Robert Oppenheimer.
That's my biggest issue with the whole thing. And I think that's a really good example as to like how dumb the thought process was early on.
Because they could have nipped it in the bud and it would have been, I mean, I'm sure everybody would have a YouTube channel that's an athlete, and what's wrong with that? Like, it would have been a day in the life, whatever.
Right.
You follow your favorite players and you get to watch them on YouTube, and it's like, that's how they make their money. It's not costing anybody anything
Right.
except the business, which is the way it's supposed to be anyway.
Yep.
Right. And that's my biggest issue. It's like, you had a chance, man.
Rest my case.
You had a chance to be smart about this.
They're greedy.
To not be so close-minded, to understand what was happening in the world, to understand what technology is and social media and all that stuff, and you missed it.
We've gotten so far.
Yeah.
They missed it so bad to where that is like literally the definition of name, image, and likeness, right? And now what the definition of that is being used for is legit free agency. Do you think right now that an Eli Manning who had the following that he had went to Texas or anybody and said, yeah, I want at least this much because I got this much of a following? No, not at all. Do you think any of these big quarterbacks or any of these guys that are getting money in these situations are saying, well, you know, I'm a social media, I'm getting this, so I want this much? No, because there's not a coach that's listening to any of that nonsense. It's literally free agency money, and they're calling it name, image, and likeness because, like you said, they missed when they had the opportunity to do it right back then.
And think about this. If you go to that, right, and you say, all right, you can do that. You can monetize if you want to go and you want to create a YouTube channel. Not everybody's going to do it because some people don't want to have the camera. Some people don't want to do all these things. But if they wanted to, then LSU creates. We're going to create a LSU social media department and media department's pretty good. Like probably the best, if not one of the best, if not the best in the country. So now all of a sudden you say, okay, we're going to have that. But we're also going to grow this into another side of it, and we're going to hire on these other people. And you want a YouTube channel, but you don't really know what to do? Okay, and you don't want to really do a lot of stuff? That person is going to do it for you. And they're going to run your YouTube channel. And you're going to be able to grow followers. You're going to do these things. And all you need to do is come on there and you can talk once a week. And they're going to break it up into clips. They're going to do these things. They're going to make this content. They're going to show how it works. And all of a sudden, you're going to grow your following. And now you have a brand. And now you have a platform to go out there and do things that are good and be able to create more name, image, and likeness. So now you're giving these athletes tools to be able to be successful in the future.
Sounds like a whole lot of capitalism right there.
Boy, that's pretty good.
Would have been.
I mean, it's not that hard. Now you grow a media department, which social media and actual media is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Tax this?
Yeah, exactly. Look at what LSU baseball is doing.
Gotta make money off of this.
Gotta make money. You can't be the only one. How do we tax this?
Right. Look what LSU's doing. LSU baseball. They have a podcast. They do their deal, right? That's going to grow, and that's probably on a YouTube channel, but it's probably on LSU whatever. And so you say, okay, listen, you grow this. We create your channel. You grow this, and we are going. This is the fee it costs to have this guy manage it, and you get 70%, and we get 30%, and now we are in a business conversation. Yeah, you are the driving force, but you wouldn't be able to do that without the person running it. And now LSU's making money.
Yeah, here's
and
4K cameras and microphones. Like, oh shit, I'll sit on a bucket and do it. Everything's set up.
No doubt. You blow up and you play well on the field, and all of a sudden everybody wants to hear you. And now you went from, we had 5,000 subscribers, so now we got 500,000 subscribers because you're in the Heisman running, and people want to hear you talk, and they just want to see you, and they're fans. And then they're going to post highlights of you, and you're going to do all this stuff, and all of a sudden you're making $30,000 a month on YouTube.
I mean, playing.
Boy, that's pretty good.
That sounds like NIL to me.
That's name, image, and likeness to me.
I guess the reason it didn't happen, because we're going to get to ask Mikie and Mitch here pretty quickly, but they didn't want to pull the curtain off the table, so to speak, on amateurism. Because once you allow that, then it's amateurism.
They didn't want to allow income because that's what it was.
It opens the door.
But
so they wanted it kicked down, which happened.
Well, they didn't know how to stop it
now.
Right when it was going on.
I think the most, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, and we can get to ask Mikie and Mitch.
That was very poignant of you. That was a good point.
The one I just said?
Yeah.
About the kicker or
everything.
YouTube. That's what I mean. It's just, if you think of it that way, it's okay, that makes a lot of sense. I think the dumbest point dumb's aggressive. I think the most short-sighted point that people like to make is, you're going to school for free and, your job, you're getting a free education and
Place
you're
to
playing
stay.
football and you should be happy about that. I'm good with it, right? Fine. If you want to say that, great. But how about these other students that are coming here that are out of state, that are also on academic scholarship, that are here and that do that, and then all of a sudden have this job that they're working at for 5 days a week, 4 days a week, and they're working 8 hours of those days, and they're working and they're doing these things and they're making money and they're getting all this extra income because their major said you need to go and do this, and you can go get a paid internship, or you can go and look for other work, even though you're on a full ride academic scholarship.
I think that's in the past, the biggest thing has been to cap the bandwidth of an athlete of what they can do when it comes to on and off the field. Like, hey, if you have the want, the desire, the ability to actually go and earn wages outside of what your obligations are
And
on
not
the field,
suffer on the field.
and not suffer, why should we be stopping that?
Right.
Well, who are we to say you can't do that?
Right.
Like, you don't tell a single mom with 2 kids that she can only work 2 jobs. What if she wants to work 4? And what if she can? You don't stop that. So why were we stopping kids for so long? But that's
right.
what it was.
And that's my thing. Is like, you had the ability to say, okay, if you want to go out and you want to do this and you want to, and I understand that there's going to be a lot of boosters out there. Hey, come work at this car dealership, or come work here, and I'm going to give you $150,000 for doing nothing.
That's the side you should have been trying to figure out.
Right. Like, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the kids that really want to, like, listen, I wish I could have had a baseball camp every winter when I was playing at LSU. There's probably a lot of money that could have been made on that, right? And so there's just, by allowing those kids to do this, you're teaching them the business world. You're teaching them how to grow a company. You're teaching them how to grow a brand. You're teaching them how to make money outside of the field, which is, hey, listen, at the end of the day, not everybody's going to be able to play for a really long time.
Well, that's also a free opportunity to break away from what is a traditional system.
Right.
Not sure that's the advocacy we want.
No.
I say we.
But that was my thing. I'm glad you gave me credit for that point. I think that's a really good point.
Just needed to happen.
Right.
A couple of years ago.
Right. But they had a way to fix it. They didn't, and now they're treading water.
Caught with your pants down.
Yeah, like they're probably taking in water. Like they keep spitting it out, and like they're breathing right here, like right above the water.
Titanic.
And they're just hoping that
the court saves them.
They're hoping that they get a
lifeline.
Yep. They need a boat to come and throw them a little raft and let them hold on.
Yep. Because
right now they're sinking. All right. Ask Mikey and Mitch is brought to you by Land Rover at Peretti. What we got?
Ask Mikey and Mitch. I'm gonna hit the Twitter ones first.
Do we have a lot?
Yeah, we got a couple. So we'll breeze through these. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Okay. From Josh Geraldo on Twitter. Chase Shores update. No expectations this season. Just curious on how his rehab progress is going.
I don't know the actual where he is in his rehab. I'd imagine he's getting pretty close to. I mean, he's probably throwing like some simulated games. I would not expect to see him until maybe middle of the season, at best.
Yeah, I'm not expecting to see him very soon, if he even pitches this season.
Right, if he even pitches.
But from the couple times I talked to him, doesn't seem to have been any huge setbacks, and he seems to be in pretty good spirits. So I would imagine it's going pretty good.
Yeah, he's probably where he needs to be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I haven't asked him any specifics. Don't
Right.
know any specifics. That's but that's what I gather from the.
And that's gonna be. I mean, he's gonna take his time, right?
And he should.
Yeah.
Because he's an draft eligible guy this year, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like just knowing what I know about Jay, I don't think they're pushing him to do something that wouldn't be healthy for his future as well.
Right. And here's the other deal: is I think that he can come back.
Yeah.
Next year as a junior and say, "Oh, I am a draft eligible sophomore. I may get drafted high, but you're gonna get drafted at a bargain."
Yeah.
You get healthy, you come back.
Shove.
Chance of being 1 overall pick, top 5 pick.
I think
you did what you did before you got hurt.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And I think here's the thing too. Like I would imagine, especially with the number of arms they have here, right? It's the war of attrition. Things go on, but I would imagine in some world if he's progressing fine and he's getting to a spot to where it's like okay, and he's able to throw breaking balls and it's all looking good. If it came down to a situation where it's man, I would love love to have you here again next year, and you would probably be one of the frontline guys on our squad. If it came down to where if he threw very little this year and or went into summer ball and threw to get drafted, I wouldn't be that surprised.
Right.
I wouldn't be. So I don't expect much on the field this year, just because he's got the chips are on his side of the table, right? He has all the power and the advantage of doing how he wants to do it right now.
Right.
So that's what it comes down to.
And he had Tommy John in April, so just to get the timeline for people that.
So a year from Tommy John is
April.
Yeah, that's usually about sometimes if you're a starter, it's about a year and a half.
Yeah, but it's usually 12 to 14.
Yeah.
Months.
So maybe he throws some out the bullpen at the end of the year, but I don't even know if he's going to pitch.
Yeah, who was it last year that came in for just a couple of spot starts that kind of worked his way back? Coleman. Yeah, so maybe that'd be like the highest. That'd be your most optimism you would have, I'd imagine.
Yep.
From Harley Doucette, rollout_16. What are your expectations for this year's LSU baseball team? Do they have a legitimate chance to go back-to-back?
Yes. I think they do have a legitimate chance to go back-to-back. I think pitching and defense always plays. I think they got a lot of pitching. I think their
like
defense
a true
is be
pulmonary decider.
But it always plays. I mean, no matter what, right? If you don't give up runs and you prevent runs from scoring, you're going to be in a really good spot. And they have that. I think their offense is going to be good. So, yeah, I think that the expectation for me is going back to Omaha. Now, to repeat, very hard. Very hard. It's happened not very many times. And so, to expect another national championship this year, that's hard to do. I think that, Omaha, though, is definitely should be their goal.
To answer that question, I think for me is for you to be able to look outside of the raw, traditional stat numbers that you saw out of the pitching staff last year and understand that they lost 3, possibly 4. One who didn't even throw a single pitch on the field last year was hurt before the season. 3, possibly 4 frontline arms to what I was told by someone very, very close to the program before the season even started last year that was the most talented pitching staff they've ever seen on one college team, and they've been around college baseball for a long time. And I would argue that staff, you saw just how deep it was that they were able to do what they were able to do, even with missing 4 frontline type of arms last year. This staff is supposed to be better. So I know what we thought about the offense they had last year, and I know what we think about the offense could be this year. I would say they have a legitimate shot to repeat simply off of what that pitching staff is supposed to be.
Agreed. Next one up. Okay. Arthur Jaramillo. Predictions on SEC baseball record.
18-12, 19-11, somewhere in there.
Last year they were 19-10. They lost the game due to rain, and that team was a national championship team.
The South Carolina.
That was when they lost.
Yeah.
The game they lost to.
That didn't come back to have any impact.
18-12 sounds pretty good. I think 18-12, 19-11. I wouldn't be shocked if they went 20-10.
I wouldn't be shocked either if they sit at 18-12 and they're looking at a 3rd, maybe 4th place finish. Yep. I think there's going to be a lot of very good teams at the top end of the SEC this year, and somebody might get hot and go on a run and get to 21-9 or 20-10 and something like that, and another team at 20-10.
The first month of the season, the SEC is going to be tough.
Yeah.
So that just like it was last year, and so you're going to go through that gauntlet, and if they get through that, winning a series, I think they have a really good chance. All you got to do is win series. Let me make that clear again. You do not have to sweep every
Do you remember that last year?
Yes.
I can't believe they're not sweeping.
They're going to lose a game?
All you got to do is win series.
How you going to lose game 3?
You know how hard it is to sweep in the SEC?
I just got one. Just win series. You win 2 out of 3. Every series, you're going to go 20-10.
Then the sky really fell when they lost 2 to Georgia, and it was, this team stinks.
And they lost 2 the next weekend.
Oh, God. Now you're not even winning series. I don't even want to sweep. I just want to win.
Is Jay Johnson on the hot seat?
Yeah, too many pitching changes.
Jay Johnson had for sale signs in his yard in the middle of the season last year. Just never forget that.
Tough crowd.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Who?
Hadn't had a championship here since 2009, and year 2 of him being here.
Get the hell out.
Number 1 team in the league for sale signs in the yard after a weekend series.
Crazy.
Give it some time.
Crazy.
Long game. Long sport.
I gave you
Long
time.
season.
He had sweep.
I
Paul?
want to see a sweep. I need to know you're here because you got a sweep.
Oh, interesting question here from Nick Curry. Why doesn't LSU Gold / LSU Baseball or third-party stream, shout out to our guy, last year carried us. Not going to put him out yet because that was a third-party streamer. The scrimmages are with no commentary. We don't need anybody in the booth. There are people there that can't either travel or have work or are just too old.
That's a great point. I would imagine they've thought about it or they're thinking about it. I would imagine that you're probably going to see that here, not this year, but soon. It makes sense.
I guess they don't want to put it out for other teams.
Yeah, that's probably it too, right? Like they don't want.
We're not recording our practices.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like they wouldn't.
They don't have scouts coming in from South Carolina. Florida.
I honestly don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's kind of the same way why you get so little coverage of fall camp for football. Like the people that are producing and putting together the SEC Gold, they still are getting paid for what they're getting paid for. Like you're not paying them to do all of that stuff in practice and produce all of that and put it out as well. Because if you ask them to do it, then they got to pay for that as well. So I personally think it's probably got a little more to do with that. Not saying that they can't, but I think, those guys sign on to do the work that is already in it, which is not fall practice.
And I think that's probably why I don't know if LSU.
It'd be fun though.
It would. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they can't get there. I just think that that's where it's at this point. And no one has clamored for it, and it's never been a part of the criteria of what the job is. So I just think that that's not.
So I think they could do a like an overhead view where there's not any production really. You just have the camera running.
Crow's nest it.
And you just show it, and it's like, hey, this is fall. This is practice. You can kind of see the stuff. You see the angle of everything. And then
I feel like LSU Gold was like, no, that's not how we do it.
Well, right.
Yeah, it gotta look good.
Yeah,
but I do think Jay would not agree to it because of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Because of the scouting, because that's just the way Jay is. Like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. Nobody can see anything. I get it, because in football you wouldn't want to show it because you don't want to see scheme and you don't want to see game plan. And so I guess in baseball it's not as much of a game plan thing, but it's more about, what is this guy struggling with right now?
Say, honestly, too, thinking about what you just said, I think the way that you would have to do it, if you went ahead and did it, was to have like real production. Because what we don't want is a running camera that just shows you what everybody's doing.
Right.
There's no production in that. Now we get to see all the flaws, all of what's good, all of what's bad,
defensive adjustment,
all of that. Like, I don't want you to see that, so let's produce it then.
And you can't put it behind a paywall because, like, what's that going to do? Okay. A&M or
you can't do that.
Just go
they
buy
don't
it.
have 11 accounts.
They'll go buy it.
I can't do that. Yeah.
Hey, kid.
You will have, if you go put it
You're
behind a
hoping us, you're paying
paywall,
us.
there
I
will be
appreciate it,
13 other teams in the SEC who have bought that subscription,
Yeah.
and let me see that.
They're paying for play.
So, but that's a great idea. If there's a way to do it without like having, a ton of exposure to other teams, but I think that's probably the biggest reason, in my mind.
And the LSU Gold that they put out for baseball is one of the best produced things I've seen of covering a collegiate team or a professional team in a long time.
They're starting again. I saw they promoted season 2 of Powerhouse.
Yeah, and you saw I don't expect it to be the same amount of production and what you saw access, I would say, for LSU baseball. LSU football nipped that in the bud pretty quickly because it was a little bit of overexposure, like you were talking about with what you were afraid of with baseball. Then they started to focus on like player-centric stories like LSU baseball did. So I think they'll keep running it that route because football was putting out way too much good stuff.
Right.
It's like, okay, I think a lot of people are seeing this that we didn't want.
And you could do it in football, but just do it after the season.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can have the production, which actually probably be a great thing. Like, after the season's over, you drop it right now.
It's a recap of the season. It gives you everything that happened, and you like you said, day one that season's over. Here it comes from season 1 and gives you time to kind of keep producing the rest of it to put it out.
Yeah, you just drop it in between season over to
get you through
baseball.
Give you an episode a week too.
All right,
keep you tapped in.
That one's free for LSU football.
All my advice I'm giving today is free.
Pro bono.
Yeah.
All right.
Just subscribe to my channel so we can make money. Like Destroy.
Speaking of A&M, We have one from the chat from DA. See if it go. Oh, let's go, Lloyd. Ask him and him. How many A&M players would drop out after a week with Tommy Moffitt?
None, man. They can't do it like they used to.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to drop out, but I think that they're going to find out real quickly, like, oh, man.
Yeah.
We had it easy compared to what we got right now.
You're asking about the wrong guy. It's DJ Durkin you should be worried about up at Auburn. Runs a pretty tight practice.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I'm missing a joke, I think.
Uh-huh.
What did he do?
He killed the kid.
Oh, wow.
Well,
I'm just saying, during conditioning drills.
Oh, you did, huh?
So he got his job back. It's all good. Defensive coordinator at Auburn.
I mean, what was
him
it?
and Hugh Freeze?
Was there a video of it?
No.
So, like, I mean, did he kill him because he was doing too hard, or was it just a freak thing?
The players were pretty quick to point it out. Like, this is how it's been all up until this point. And he reported, like, the trainers, like, he's lightheaded, and then he keeled over, and they had to send him to the hospital.
Oof.
So they settled.
Oof.
Settled. I don't think Moffitt's going to do that.
Thanks for bringing the show down, Lloyd.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It was good joke. All right. From Glimmer Fredette. Is Jake Brown going to get a look to be a starter early on? Ask him and him.
Starter in the field.
I would imagine the field, yes.
You want to go first?
Is he going to be a starter?
No, is he going to get a look at?
Yeah, I think he's going to get more than one look. Just my guess.
I think he's going to open the season as the starter.
That's what it's going to be. I was going to refine it a little bit. Do you see him being the opening day starter,
Yes.
and at what position?
Right field.
Yes. I think opening weekend he probably starts. Yeah, weekend. I think he starts at least twice. At least.
I say right field. Yeah, right field. Or left, but
Or center, left, right, and center.
depends on where he wants Mac Bingham to play.
Lineup is fluid, as we learned last year. Mm-hmm. For Michael Robbie, ask him and him. What's the inside on the renovations of the box? Ole Miss just announced a $60 million upgrade with the statue.
The statue.
The statue.
Who's the statue of?
Tim.
Mike Bianco.
Mike Elko. Not the coach.
Not the coach.
That brought you the first national championship in the history of Ole Miss. The player who had a great career.
He's a hero.
He's a local legend there. Playing on ACL, hitting homers. And look, he may have a great career and play for a long time, maybe a Hall of Famer in the big leagues.
That's about the time when you should probably get a statue.
I think it's a little premature to put a statue. Good for him.
No hate. There's no hate.
No, but that's aggressive. That's prisoner of the moment, I think, for Ole Miss. But to your point about what's the update on the box, I think you're going to start seeing renovations coming to Alex Box Stadium hopefully this summer. They're not going to do it while the season's going on, but it's not going to be $60 million though, because they don't have to. They don't need a $60 million upgrade. So we'll see. I think you should see it here soon.
Quick guess on how long it took for Skip to get a statue at LSU. Who did what for the Tigers?
Skip won 5 national championships and basically built the program from nothing. And I think they went to Omaha 8 times.
Oh, he's eating up about those other 3.
Yeah, he almost went back to back.
My fault.
98. And so he didn't get a statue until when was it? 5 years ago.
He retired in 2006
from the AD.
Mm-hmm. And
he
now
got the statue after I was left.
He got it in 2019.
Yeah, way after I left.
When was his last year coaching?
2001.
So 18 years from being just LSU centric.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
When did Ole Miss win the national championship?
2 years ago.
Let's just be honest. If there's anybody that's responsible for any bit of the national stage that college baseball gets today, it's Skip. And so for 19 years to have passed from the last time he actually was working, like legit working at LSU, for him to get that, and 2 years after this guy's finished playing.
Tim Elko statue. There's a lot of other guys that came out of Ole Miss that are really good.
Yeah.
One's from Louisiana.
One's coaching from.
I digress.
He's part of that first one too.
Right,
No love.
Next one up. I kind of on your point with Destroyer. Ask him, with social media being not as popular as it is now, back in y'all's day, did you ever hear the noise, and how difficult was it to actually block out? I'll let Mikey go first.
Yeah, you heard it. I mean, you had Facebook.
Oh, God, yeah, I bet y'all were on it.
Uh-huh.
It probably was great back
But
then.
it wasn't as, like,
commentary.
yeah, as social media is now. My junior year, I got a Twitter, like, midway through my junior year. And, like, kind of some stuff, but not a ton. And so I guess the noise really kind of came from the media.
Or from yourself.
Or from us, yeah, right? Like, you know, people aren't going to come to you and talk shit to your face on campus. You know what I mean?
Like that Tiger droppings was cooking.
You're not like Tiger droppings, obviously, but I at least never went on Tiger droppings. But you have like the Reveille, you have like the newspapers that would have like articles, and if you're struggling, you'd hear that and do whatever. And you kind of hear the moans and groans from like the stands, but nobody's going to come and tell you.
Get it together, right?
Yeah, nobody's going to come into your face and tell you how bad you are, right? But behind a keyboard, they will. So I think nowadays, it's a lot harder to block it out. The way we blocked it out was just not read the newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, not.
We're gonna do that anyway.
Not go and look at Tiger droppings. Now it's very hard.
Yeah, we heard the noise if you wanted to hear the noise back then, or even kind of if you didn't. But it was, to your point, I think that's where it's at today. Is so much harder to block it out, right?
It's almost
like say
unavoidable.
you go have a great game or bad game or anything, right? If you come back to your phone, you're tagged in the noise. Like, it's literally a notification on your phone because there is people tweeting at you, pictures of you. All of this stuff goes on, where before that wasn't a thing. So like the noise it's very hard to block it out or not see it, because it's literally, it comes up as notifications on your phone today, unless you obviously turn them off, right? So like you have to go through those, I guess, firewalls, if you will, to kind of block it out. But I'm not sure how many people actually do.
Right.
Would you have had a Twitter right now if you were playing for LSU?
Yeah, why not?
I had an Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, why not?
I wouldn't have a TikTok. I was never, like when Vine was a thing, I never had a Vine. You know?
Drunk Mikey would have a TikTok. He's the big dancer. He'd do it.
Oh, see some of that.
I don't think anybody wants to see Drunk Mikey dance.
It's like wrestling a bear.
The avatar comes right.
Some days, sometimes it feels good. Sometimes it's like, I'm just doing it to do it. You know, it's happening.
I'm feeling it right now.
It's happening. I'm moving.
Great song.
I'm definitely moving.
Yeah, something's happening.
I'm definitely moving.
I'm definitely moving.
From Kenneth Delilah. Delilah. What movie?
You're gonna ask the question?
Oh yeah, from Kenneth Delilah. Ask Eminem, are y'all going back to Earl's or any place like that on Fridays for baseball season?
We'll be right here for right now. We'll be having Fridays from here at Cars and Culture.
Cold Pops.
Cold Pops for right
Pops
now.
cold.
Now, if something were to happen to where there's an opportunity to do something else, we're always open for that. But right now, I like the setup we got here. It's a great vibe with people walking in and out. But we will have, on Saturdays, once the SEC starts, we're going to have a lot more mic'd up tailgates. We're going to try to make that a regular thing. And
Not a show.
No, not a show. It's too hard to have a show out there, too loud, not enough internet.
Not enough fun.
Yeah, so we're going to have a tailgate, enjoy ourselves, music, TV, the whole deal, and then probably have video and pictures and do stuff just to highlight on how much fun we're all having. And yeah,
Be a great time.
be a great time. Next. Do we have it next?
I only have the one screen, brother.
You're right.
Ask Mikey Mitch, how do y'all think catching lines up with Milazzo, Travinsky, and Brady Neal?
How do we think what?
The catching position lines up
Oh,
with Travinsky,
I heard
Milazzo,
that
and Brady
completely
Neal.
different. Probably, I would imagine you're gonna get. I would imagine you're gonna get Milazzo probably twice a weekend, and some combination, probably matchup wise, on how they want to catch either Travinsky and Brady on the weekend as well. But I also think they are going to do what they can to keep Travinsky's bat in the lineup as much as they can every day, and obviously wanting to keep him healthy. And so the Neal and Milazzo thing will be even though look, Brady was really good when he played last year. So I hate to sound like I'm kind of trying to slight the guy. I'm not. I just know the top end that Milazzo is behind the plate, and I know the top end that Travinsky is at the plate. And those two things, I think Brady on both sides is kind of in between both of those. And he has the luxury to kind of be able to kind of make this thing fluid. So I think that's what you'll get.
I think the roles will be reversed from last year with Brady, with Neal and Milazzo early on. Where you saw Milazzo like spot, and then Neal was your...
for sure. So you're going to see, I agree with you. I think you're going to see Milazzo's going to be the number one. He's going to catch majority of the games. I think you're going to see Brady Neal as the number two. And he's gonna probably catch a game all weekend. And then I think you're going to see Travinsky as majority DH because of the knees and because of the keep him healthy. I think you're going to see
body.
I think you're going to see Travinsky catch a few times, but I think that it's going to be all dependent on how healthy he is as the season progresses. But I think defensively, I think Milazzo is your best catcher and Brady Neal is your second best catcher defensively. Travinsky obviously is the most elite one with his bat.
My thought process to this is this as well, and it's not necessarily to the catcher position, but we have not yet thrown the first pitch to the season. So with that being said, production and availability are all not on the table right now.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen once the season starts, and usually what happens is, not like I said, not necessarily at this position, but you don't have all of those things available for you. And so I think it's, we'll see how this thing plays out.
Yeah.
Dustin D, #337. Ask Eminem, who do y'all see in the high leverage spots out of the pen?
In the what?
Out of the pen. High leverage spots. Got to get out. It's Riley Cooper.
I think you're going to see a lot of Gavin Guidry in those moments. I think you're going to see a lot early on in the season. You're going to see a lot of the guys that you relied on last year.
Yeah.
Nasty Nate.
You're going to see Nate Ackenhausen. Yeah. You're going to see you're probably going to see some Coleman. Yeah. You're going to see the other lefty. I'm drawing a blank. Who's the other lefty that was really Herring?
Yeah.
You're going to get Griffin Herring coming out there. You're going to have those guys coming out of the bullpen. I think you're going to have some righties that you've had on the team and on the pitching staff from last year that are coming back off of injury. I think you're going to start seeing those guys. But I think early on you're going to see the veteran guys get the first crack, and then you're going to start seeing it kind of unfold as the season goes on.
I'm wondering here's the thing. I'm really wondering if you're going to see, knowing what you know about those veteran guys, knowing that you know the character that they are, and I say you, meaning Jay, I'm wondering if the lines of communication are so wide open that if early in the year he's going to try to give some high leverage spots to the lower kids, some higher leverage spots to Cam Johnson, some high leverage spots to some Aiden Moffitt, some of these other kids to see what can I get out of them. What can I get out of them? And in a sense of, not to say that any of these other guys are kind of in a spot where they need this kind of, I guess, babying, for lack of a better word, because I really don't think it's that, but the season's long, right? And last year we watched guys that we needed get hurt. Will he say, man, I need to see what I got in these kids now, and I'd rather have to try to do it now than to try to do it in week 3 of the SEC. So I'm wondering if that kind of happens early on.
Yep. Couple more? One more?
So pick the best one. Okay.
And baseball season comes, we get more questions. It's crazy.
Yeah, we might move this to the old super chat. Send $1, get your question read. Send $5.
We don't know anything about football, so
yeah.
No football knowledge here.
Wait for 2024. Mm-hmm. What hitter and pitcher are you most excited about? Personally, I'm excited to see Guidry and Kling's growth.
I like those two. You go first.
Hitter and pitcher I'm most excited about. Well, pitcher's the easy one. I just want to see what the top end of it looks like. So just go ahead and give me Cam Johnson. I want to see it. I'd buy a ticket to that. Mm-hmm. Hitter side, I'm kind of stuck between
Burr.
Bear. Yeah, but like I kind of feel like I know what I'm gonna see out of him. I also kind of feel like I know what I'm gonna see out of Paxton. I'm kind of stuck between Bingham and the shortstop again. I'm forgetting his name. Braswell. Yeah, I'm kind of stuck between those two because if those two pop, well, Bingham I think is gonna be the really pleasant surprise to everyone, but I don't really think Jay's thinking that. I think everyone else, if you actually get it, they're gonna be like, yeah, this is great. Like Jay knows what he's getting. The guy's played for Jay before, so Jay knows who he is.
From there for a reason.
The rest of them, like those two, are the ones that I'm like, I want to see it. Like I think those will be guys that are like legit mainstays in the lineup, and it's gonna be way more than what people thought they would be getting out of them this year.
I think that just to put a little footnote on it, I think Braswell's gonna have the most eyes of the fans in the lineup.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, there's a lot. I'm obviously excited about those two guys, but if I had to pick, I'm excited for Thatcher. I know I talked a lot about him. I'm excited to see what now this next year looks like. Right, he has a whole year here. He's kind of got experience. He got to win national championship, pitched him some big moments. So I want to see that. And then as far as hitters go, there's a couple guys that I'm really excited to see. And I'm going to go with a guy that may not have a ton of fanfare coming in, but I'm very excited to see Pearson this year.
Mr. Professional, I bet.
Exactly. And I think he's going to be able to put them in a position. He may not have the best numbers, but I think he has the ability to hit double-digit home runs. I think he has the ability to hit 350.
Should be a mainstay in the lineup.
And so I think he's going to maybe solidify this lineup, right? I think he's going to, what you're going to get. He's going to go and he's going to grind out at bats. And I think you're going to see him. He's going to make this lineup better. He's going to be in there all the time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Off of his name, just remember this. He is going to be the wild card in the lineup in the sense of I could see him taking some games and hitting in the 2-hole because maybe somebody else is scuffling a little bit and you need that professional at bat. I could see him dropping down to the 5 or 6 spot because maybe we need some protection there as well. He's going to be the guy that's going to give you the professional at bats all around the lineup, and he's going to something. I could see it. Don't know where it's going to come, but I could see him being that.
Yep.
I'm going to go Christian Little and Ethan Frey.
That's you?
Mm-hmm.
Like Ethan's the one we haven't even thrown in there just because of how many bodies they got.
Did it?
No, just that's when you're talking about the bullpen and trying to find pieces. Like he was a huge asset early on in the year, and then it kind of got a little squirrely there, and we, coach made a decision like, okay, we got other guys that stepped up, whatever. But with the stuff that you saw from him when it was clicking, I think he could be a massive asset to your bullpen. And then Frey has this probably is in the same or out of the same ballpark as Bear Jones whenever he's connecting. I think he could be a nice plug-and-play guy at some spots.
Yeah. I agree. I like that. That's two names that we haven't really talked about. All right.
Thank you. Look at us.
Look at us.
Each other. Being
Look,
friends.
we got to 7 hours. 7 hours.
7 hours.
Did you see
that
we got
last
to
night?
7:40. What?
They had to find Barstool Jerry.
Oh, it was late night?
Yeah, Jerry After Dark.
And they had to find him?
They did 39 needles in a haystack. 12 hours.
He found them all?
He did it with Big Cat and PFT because it was their 39th birthday.
And they find them all?
Yeah, 12 hours later.
Wow.
It took them 38 minutes to find the first one. Then they lost it in the hay again, so it took them an extra 10 minutes to find the first one again.
Wow.
Then they got on a heater.
Wow, that's crazy.
But the boys are working.
They're doing putting a lot of content out there.
I can see the wheels turning of what you want to make me do. Mm-hmm. I know. And
I'm not gonna do night like 24 hours. You got morning show you gotta do, but there's things that we're gonna do.
Because I'll say yes.
No doubt. That's great.
All right, segments.
That's great. Haystacks. They think of some creative stuff.
TJ Watt and JJ Watt were both watching.
Even better. See, they're building it. They're doing what they need to do. Mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Doe's Eat Place. What do we got?
Mistake of the day from Doe's Eat Place is, I'm so shocked we haven't talked about this yet, so I'm glad I still get to use it. They caught our. Oh, can't believe this guy's gonna beat you in a playoff game, huh? Sending a bunch of teams home early, isn't he? Might win back-to-back Super Bowls. This is your king, Pat Mahomes with just a bad angle shot, and it's also a bit of a curtain call for, like you said before the show, like him kind of owning it. Like, oh, this is out there.
No doubt.
It ain't going away.
No doubt. And then he said, I mean, he handled it the right way.
Like, I got kids.
And you see that, and then you go see the video that George Kittle posted of Christian McCaffrey and Juricic, the fullback, who's supposed to be this big, hefty guy. And Juricic is absolutely shredded.
Showing a lot of skin.
And they are both, like, they are shredded. And they're out there, and they're broing out.
He's working on his golf swing.
Swinging golf clubs, hanging out with the sun, getting some vitamin D in there. And he's a fullback. And he is...
This is a quarterback.
And that's a quarterback.
Well, a lot of people said it's peak male performance.
Now, listen, could be a bad angle.
I would think so.
You know,
could be catching him right when he's taking a deep breath out.
Yep.
Just, you know.
Yep. Like he's got tights on, so you know it's
I
always going to make
all of
it.
This in my mind.
It's always going to make it a little bit more.
They did,
like,
you know. Yeah, it's tough.
But it's not as good as you would like to see, no matter what the angle is, even if it's a bad angle. It's not exactly what you had hoped.
I was reading what he said.
Yo, why'd they have to do me like that?
Yeah, it wasn't as what you hoped, but you know, part of it.
I got kids, yo. Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's your Doe's Eat Place mistake of the day. He would probably love to visit Doe's, or has before.
We actually need to visit Doe's again.
Well, you know, it's restaurant week. They put out their 3-course menu,
for
which
lunch?
is dessert.
First?
Dessert first. Appetizers, choice of 3 entrees, and then a dessert. Choice of 2 desserts. And 2 appetizers.
You get dessert, you get appetizer, and then you get 3 entrees?
You get a choice of 3 entrees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could get all 3.
If you want it.
Pat would.
Yeah, Pat would.
Have it your way.
Yeah. It's a different segment.
I like that. Okay, Curtain Call is brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
Man.
Me. What we got, boys? What we got for our curtain calls? Curtain calls are a tough one. There's tough sledding out there.
I pulled you a curtain call.
Thank you.
If you would like. I feel like you've seen this before, but I found it very interesting considering what we all were saying about the Ravens-Chiefs game. And then you have Odell on the sideline talking to Lamar. Have you seen this?
No.
I think it has captions, so you'll be able to read it. But here is your curtain call.
This is your curtain call?
Yours.
Oh, mine. This is my curtain call.
Yeah.
Change the whole dynamic of the game when you take off. Hey, we gotta get some going on. What the going on? All day, boys! All day long! We get gorgeous! We here! We're here! You change the whole dynamic of the game when you take off. Hey, we gotta get some going on.
Yeah.
What the going on?
And that's Odell
Like, what the...
being, hey, dude, just know I've been around this thing for a little bit. I respect you. You respect me. Listen, you changed this game whenever you are you.
You got to be
Why are
you.
you not being you right now? And I mean, I respect that from Odell. Go out there and kind of get him going.
I mean, he's been in this league a long time, which people you kind of forget.
He's been around a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Played with Eli.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
won a Super Bowl with Stafford.
Right. Like,
It's like he knows that Lamar's got something that those other two don't.
no doubt. And that's awesome. I think Odell got a lot of bad publicity for a long time. I think Odell this year was fine. Like, didn't get a lot. Now, I didn't have the monster year that he hoped that he would have, but you know, I think that he realizes, okay, I'm getting to the point in my career where I got to be that guy. I can't always be the prima donna superstar 23.
He's an old head now,
right? Yeah, I'm the veteran. I gotta impart this wisdom on some of my guys. So I respect it. Thanks for the curtain call.
You're welcome, sir.
I'm still gonna try to find one on my own, but what's yours?
One day. My curtain call is no video yet. Brian Kelly set to release bald eagle treated by LSU by the LSU vet school. Officials announced LSU football coach Brian Kelly will be releasing a bald eagle treated by the LSU School of Veterinary Medicine and Wildlife. The release, is happening Friday, February 2nd at 9 a.m. on the levee near LSU Vet Med.
Are you gonna go?
I would maybe. According to the vet school, the female eagle was dehydrated and had a left wing droop. They treated her, and now she's ready to be released into the wild.
Nice.
Left wing droop.
This is
Droop.
great.
She had a
This is
broken
a great
bone in
look.
there.
This is good image for Brian Kelly. You know, like
I
he
mean,
helps.
you know what kind of pictures you're gonna get out of that thing?
No doubt.
BK and the Oakleys with the glove on.
The claw.
And then how great would it be if the bald eagle takes off and then comes back because he didn't want to.
Yeah, it just flashed straight into Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
This is the claw. I mean,
There you
there's a chance it's gonna end up being our first ever curtain call that turns into a mistake of the day a week later.
Could be.
Could be.
That definitely
Don't want
could
it. Don't want it to happen.
be. Okay. What you got?
Oof.
I know it's tough.
Yeah. No, it's Lloyd, you got another one up there?
I thought you were over there hunting.
I was hunting hard.
I mean, there's really not much out here, boys. There's just not. You know. I think.
Oh,
Okay.
well, not a lot out here, but Ben Simmons returned. Almost had a triple-double.
Played really well in his return. He did.
Yeah. Then he's sitting out today.
Now he's hurt with knee contusion.
Knee contusion.
And the NBA players are not very happy about that 65-game minimum to be able to be part of the postseason awards. They're not loving that.
Yeah.
And Joel got hurt again. He's actually out this time.
So he's not gonna be able to qualify for the MVP.
He's got
No,
3
he's got
games.
5 more games or 4 more games that he still can qualify.
And this is a different injury than his previous injury.
Tough. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Not good. Because he's great.
He's great.
He's not gonna be able to win MVP though. All right. That's all we got for today. We will be back live from the studio on Friday from 1 to 2:30-ish, 3-ish, depending on how the show flows. We appreciate your love and support. We appreciate you liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Subscribers help. We talked to you about destroying. It really does help grow the show. Helps us bring in more resources to be able to do different things for the show.
We don't have to quit a college sport to keep going. So
We
you
don't
can
have
just
to
grow
quit
it.
a college sport, so just don't be shy. Click the subscribe button. If you don't like watching us, you like listening to us, or anywhere you get your pods, we appreciate all love and support. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We can't wait to see you on Friday. And peace. Good night.